This video is being provided to give the Board of Education a better understanding of the two reports that they approve typically 3 times a year. These reports are the Certificate of Estimated Resources, also called the Certificate of Revenue, and the Annual Appropriation Resolution. Typically, you approve these reports 3 times a year. The first one being prior to July 1st, which is your initial certificate and your temporary appropriations. And then usually prior to September 30th, you have to approve an amended certificate and your annual appropriation, permanent appropriation resolution. And then prior to June 30th or on June 30th, we approve the final appropriation resolution and the Certificate of Estimated Resources. There can be times during the middle of the year when you might approve these reports if something major changes. An example that might be a passing of a levy. A district may choose to amend their Certificate of Estimated Resources to reflect that new revenue from the new levy. Or if the district was looking to make major reductions or cuts, they might adopt new appropriation resolutions to reflect those cuts. So the first document that we have in front of you, and the first document you approve, is your Certificate of Estimated Resources or Certificate of Revenue. This document basically outlines by fund type and fund all of the revenue that's attributable to the school district for the year. So looking at this case, the general fund, our beginning unencumbered balance here is nearly $12.2 million. The first 2 columns represent our taxes. So the first one is from the initial certificate. We projected at that time $21.1 million. And then the second column is the adjustments to the taxes. That's from this certificate, an additional $681,000. The next column over, the 5th column, is your other sources. So that would be typically your state aid and your other fees and local income, investment income, and such. So if you add your beginning balance plus your adjustments to taxes, plus your other sources, plus your adjustments to other sources, that's your total revenue for the year. In this case, there's $57.3 million available in the general fund to be appropriated. If we flip to the next page, you can see the detail of each of those funds. The first page was fund type. So some of the funds that you may be interested in typically are your 300 funds, which is your district managed activities. That would include your athletics, band, choir, Bruin newspaper, yearbook, and different things like that. Skipping down here to your 500 funds, those are your federal funds. So looking at our biggest one, which is IDAB Fund 516, you see our initial balance plus what we received this year for a total of $798,000 available to be spent out of the IDAB grant, and our other grants including Title I, Perkins related to career tech. Another big fund is the Bond Retirement Fund. This one's a little distorted this year. You see this adjustment over here of $8.3 million. That's related to the bond refunder that we did earlier this year. So that's a big adjustment there because we did not anticipate that back in September doing that refunder. But since we ended up doing that big refunder, we have to show that here on the Certificate of Revenue, and you also see it on the appropriation resolution. Some other funds that might be of interest: food service. You can see that we have nearly $2 million available there when you take our initial balance plus the revenue received this year. Again, adding these 2 columns together is our total revenue for the year. Since this is the final certificate, this is actual. When we approved this back in September, it was on an estimated amount, and now we're approving actual revenue for the current fiscal year. So that's your Certificate of Revenue. Again, beginning balance plus taxes plus adjustments to taxes plus other sources plus adjustment to other sources, our total revenue or our total available to be spent or appropriated this year. The other document that we approve at 3 times during the year, again prior to July 1, prior to June 30th, and on or about prior to September 30th, and on or about June 30th, is the Annual Appropriation Resolution. This is amendment number 1, or the final one. We did permanent back in September, and then this is an amendment. So again, looking at the general fund, $42.9 million is what we've appropriated this year. That includes over $2 million of advances that we'll talk about when we go over the advance and transfer report here at the fiscal year end meeting. But focusing on some of the same funds, you can see your 300 funds, $421 million is appropriated. IDAB, again, $798,000. Again, the big appropriation in the Bond Retirement Fund related to the refunder that we had. Food service, $1.2 million. So this is the totals appropriated at the fund level. So the board only approves appropriations at the fund level here at Wazoo City Schools. Obviously, in September, when we go over this document, I provide a lot more information as far as the budgetary control level, how that, for example, how that $42.9 million is spread out within the general fund. You know, how much is going to salaries, how much is going to benefits, how much is going to supplies, capital, different departments, whether it's facilities or special education or building budgets. All those things are outlined in a great amount of detail throughout the budget process. But again, the board only approves at the fund level. Probably the most important thing to know is our total appropriations on the annual appropriation resolution can never exceed at the fund level the certificate of revenue or the certificate of estimated resources that we went over on the first document. So if we go back over to the certificate, again, the general fund, we have $57.3 million available. We go back to the appropriation resolution, we've appropriated 42.9. So this number always needs to be less than what's available at each fund level. So again, 018 fund, $206,000 appropriated. We go back, we have $251,000 available. So when we submit this to the county auditor, they review that to make sure that we have not appropriated or spent or plan to spend more than what we have available or what we believe we will have available. And then when the auditors come in and do their work after the conclusion of the year, they review each time we submit a certificate of estimated resources and an appropriation resolution to make sure that we did not appropriate more than what was available. So again, these are the two documents that I have you approve at the end of the fiscal year. They're also approved beginning of the fiscal year and also at prior to September 30th as required by law, that we adopt permanent appropriations. So hopefully this video provides some additional information to you related to these two documents that will have you approved, as well as the two documents related to next year.